Taoiseach, your announcement yesterday that primary school children as young as 9 or 10 years old should be taught about transgenderism shocked many people. The Red C poll and Ireland Thinks poll suggests that the majority of people believe that children in primary school are too young to be taught about transgenderism. Their research states that most people in this country believe that children are too young to grapple with these very, very strong and important issues. Now, everybody wants to have compassion at the heart of the education system, but we also need common sense. We have a duty of care as well for children. And parental choice and consent must also be components of the education system. Gender dysphoria is not easy. Children should be treated with compassion and support, but it must be evidence-based. And there's a growing number of experts who have said that the approach of this government on these issues is not evidence-based. Has your department or the Department of Education carried out any research on the effect on primary school children of delivering material on transgenderism in the classroom?
Deputy Tóibín refers to the term there, transgenderism. I'm not sure what that really means, Deputy. It's not an ideology nor a political philosophy. Trans people are people and they exist, and I know people who are trans, and perhaps you do too, and they've always existed. Maybe not acknowledged, but they've always existed. And I think when it comes to education, when it comes to children, parents and schools have a duty to inform young people about the world around them as it is. Sooner or later, a young person is going to run into somebody who's trans or meet somebody who's trans. Isn't it better that they've heard about it from their parents or from their teachers, so they're prepared? It just seems like common sense to me, and it doesn't have to be a value judgment. It doesn't have to challenge anyone's religious beliefs. It doesn't have to threaten anyone's feelings on this matter. It just makes sense to me that if you want to look out for children and prepare them for life and prepare them for the world around them, you don't shield them from the reality of people and how they live their lives. You talk to them about it, and you have to be ready to answer their questions. Kids are extraordinarily curious, and they see something they haven't seen before, or they recognise somebody who hasn't seen before, and they'll ask questions, and you should be able to answer them. It shouldn't be, don't say trans. We have to have an approach that makes sense in that regard, that teaches people about the reality of the world around them. And I do really, really hope when it comes to this whole debate that we can all agree to try and avoid the kind of culture wars that we've seen in other countries around the trans issue. The last thing the vast majority of people want in this country is a big row and a big fight between people who are woke and people who are anti-woke. People really don't want that, and people on both sides of that debate probably do want that for reasons of self-promotion and other reasons, and I just hope we can avoid that and keep it rational and keep it anchored in the centre ground. Just in relation to the industrial relations dispute involving tutors and the ETBs, obviously do hope that gets resolved soon. I'm not going to get personally involved in industrial relations disputes, not that I'm not interested, but I know that if I do, every dispute will be escalated to the Taoiseach's office, and we'll be expected to find the solution, and that's not the way it should be done. It should be done through the WRC and the Labour Court, which is where these matters are resolved. But I do hope that can be resolved, and I do have sympathy for the tutors and the case that they're making. And in relation